Marc Kealey is a big-shot liberal, a lifelong liberal, a defender of the Prime Minister, and he joins me right now because it just came apparent a few weeks ago, Marc, that the debt that your government and my government has put up over the last few years, the service of that debt, the amount of money they pay out every year to pay that debt interest is more than the whole national defense. Liberal governments for years have been cheating national defense, reducing it, and now to serve that debt is bigger than that. How is that responsible?
So let me just start out by saying, this show, the 3 minutes that you have, is a very consequential show. I think you add a lot to the national debate, and I think it's important that you have this opportunity to say this. I'm just saying.
And that's why you're here, because it's a debate.
Right. And I think in 3 minutes, I'm just going to say this. We need to be a little less vitriolic about what you're talking about. We have a government right now that inherited probably 10 years of lofty spending under our former government. And nobody's screaming and yelling about that. They think probably the smartest Prime Minister
is a lot less.
My point is simply this. We're at a stage right now where, and I said this in shows previous, in 2015, when Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister, he said, we're going to rewire this economy. We're going to rewire this country.
To make it green.
Which, not just green, we're going to talk about innovation. We're going to talk about Arctic sovereignty. We're going to talk about a new way of Canada attracting 100 million people to this country by 2050. In order for those things to happen, Steve, you've got to have some investment. You got to have some spend. You got to have, and I think he's laying there.
People are investing in Canada more because they get screwed.
It's a sea change, 180 degrees in what used to be. And I think in your case, what I would do if I was Stephen LeDrew is say, let's have that debate. Let's not talk about what he's doing wrong. Let's talk about the good things that are happening, that we could monetize off that innovation.
Let's talk about Arctic sovereignty, because there's a huge issue coming up about both the Russians and Chinese in the Arctic. Immense wealth in minerals. They are there. We have the Canadian Rangers with Enfields from World War II.
Well, that's not accurate, first of all.
Well, they are.
Secondly,
they haven't had new guns.
That's not accurate. But secondly, I think one of the things that you ought to consider is when you look at things like Arctic sovereignty and what this government in particular is doing with SMR, small modular reactor technologies that will be deployed in the Arctic with national defense, probably at new bases that are going to be, that's an extraordinary investment. And those are things that we should be debating. I'm just saying to you, this is a long-range opportunity, and I think this government is thinking about it. But they're thinking about this. It's happening, and you're going to see this innovation be monetized.
I wish you were in Ottawa, not them. Marc Kealey, thank you very much. 3 minutes. So in 1 year during the pandemic, CBC paid themselves $33 million in bonuses above their great salaries. We need a discussion in this country. We need analysis. If you agree with that, please help us on the air. Press PayPal and subscribe.